licensing. Before we begin, if I can have those present to introduce themselves, starting off with the councillors and then the officers. Firstly, I'll start with myself. I'm Councillor Ajda Ovat, Chair of Licensing and Member for Northumberland Park Ward. Members, if you can now introduce yourselves, starting from my left.
So I'm Councillor Amina Ibrahim. I'm member of the Licensing Committee and member for Knoll Park Ward.
I'm Councillor Sheila Peacock, member for South Tottenham and also on the Licensing Committee.
Chris Rice, councillor for Tottenham here.
Gina Adamu, I'm not a member of the committee, but I miss you all. I came to see you.
Barbara Blake, Seven Sisters. I'm a member of the Licensing Committee.
Ellen Weston, councillor for Hornsey and a member of the Licensing Committee.
Nick Costa, member for Highgate and a member of the Licensing Committee.
Dale Barrett, Licensing Team Leader.
And Michelle Williams, Legal Advisor.
Aisha Dinset, Democratic Services Manager.
Thank you all. Now with the first item of the agenda, filming at meetings. Please note this meeting is being recorded and will be available for public viewing. Second item, apologies for absence. Are there any apologies for absence?
Have apologies for absence from Councillor Say, Councillor Arkle, Councillor Buxton.
Thank you. Third item, urgent business. Are there any items of urgent business?
And no items of urgent business, Chair.
Thank you. Fourth item, declarations of interest. Do members have any declarations of interest? Thank you. Fifth item, deputations, petitions, presentations, questions. Are there any deputations, petitions, presentations, or questions? Okay, moving on. Sixth item, minutes. Can we indicate the minutes of the Licensing Committee held on 13th of January 2022 as a correct record?
Read.
Thank you. And we can also note the minutes of the Licensing Subcommittee and the Special Licensing Subcommittee from January 2022. Now on to the seventh item, review of fees and charges 2023 to 2024 licenses. Ms. Barrett, if you can please introduce the report.
And I'll take committee through this. So each year we are required to consider charges that are set for a number of licensing processes that fall within this committee. These are namely going to be your street trading applications, massage and special treatment, animal licensing, and scrap metal, to name a few. The other applications that we deal with, the majority, the bulk of the stuff we deal with, the licensing Act Code 3 are all set by the Secretary of State, so we don't have to worry about the fees there. And Haringey has already set the fee maximums that's permitted under the Gambling Act. So again, there's no further work to do on those. This year for the fees and charges, sorry, it's the same regular report that comes in, I'm afraid. So fees and charges, Finance have advised that it's got to be a 10% inflationary increase this year. So all the fees have just been put up 10% across the board, basically, with the exception of there being one new fee under the street trading part of it, whereby the sorry.
Point of order. I'm just looking up 173. I think me and you, Nick, need to probably declare an interest there.
Which page?
Just dawned on me. So 173, exhibition fees for Alexandra Palace.
Yes, we will have to. I will have to declare an apologies. Declare an interest.
Just noticed.
Yeah.
So obviously we've declared it as it's become clear to us.
As trustee of Alexandra Palace and chair of Alexandra Palace Trading Limited as well.
Chair of Alexandra Palace Park and Board and trustee.
And a member of the APTL.
And a member of APTL.
Thank you, councillors.
Is that, just to check, is that is that personal or prejudicial because they are trustees, but the overall the council is the.
As the council is a corporate trustee, yes. I mean, I am chair of the trading company as a councillor, as a trustee, and as the corporate trustee. So I'm not sure. Well,
I think just for,
Yeah.
I think just for.
Right, for
no
noting.
Clarity, yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, it's probably fine, but I would just be more.
Yeah, I agree. And I mean,
Yeah.
if a Alexandra Palace licensing thingy came to the committee, I would not.
yeah,
Yeah.
Would ask
Yeah.
to be on that committee, a subcommittee as well, because, yeah, I have an interest to make sure the palace makes.
The Bolton Braces approach.
Yeah.
yeah. I don't think it's a prejudicial interest,
Yeah,
but I think we're
that's fine.
fine.
Yeah.
Thank you, Ms. Barrett.
All right, so finance have advised that it's got to be an inflationary increase this year. Otherwise, I don't think we would have been looking to increase fees this year, again, to be honest. So all the fees that you had before you've been increased by 10% across the board. Like I'm saying, and the only new fee in here has been in relation to street trading. We do have Tottenham Green Market. That is Regen's baby. That's what they operate, and they are now they're out to tender at the moment, I believe, to get a new operator there. But we also do have markets that take place on St James's Square, and we have a resident-led market that happens in Middleton Road. And we're trying to be as fair and open across the board, across all three of them, so that they all get dealt with in the same way, and they all get to have the same benefit as such, in so much as we can give a benefit. But obviously, street trading mustn't impact on the public purse at all. They're required to actually pay the full fee, whatever that might be. So there is a day rate fee for one-off markets taking place in those locations. And also, we've said it was for newcomers that they could get 3 dates for one price. But we've been quite liberal with that, and we've just been allowing the existing traders to also benefit from that as well. And they also asked if they could do a yearly fee, so we've asked to introduce that this year. So
If we could come through, Chair. Yeah.
Can ask.
If we can stay to questions once the report's been finished.
It's about street traders.
Yeah, once the report's been finished, then I'll ask members for questions. Thank you.
And just to finish, Chair, so the only thing that we need to do in particular on street trading is that there is a requirement in the legislation for there to be a public notice that we put in the newspaper following this committee hearing, the decision that's made here. That's for 28 days. And if we're getting any feedback from that, then I will, of course, bring that back to the licensing committee. So.
Thank you. Now,
Yeah.
questions are open to members.
When Spurs are playing and there's the burger fans, do they pay just £100 or they pay?
No, not at all. No, they are licensed differently. So your traditional traders have got a different charging scheme within the document here as to what they pay annually.
And the other question I had was about the market in Holcombe Market.
That's not a market. I know they call it a market. It's Regen's thing. It's actually retail units. It's not actually a market.
Because the food and vegetable one right in the front. In the old days, all Reg was the trading manager used to go around. He would not have allowed it to expand like it does. And it's expanding right across the pathway.
Right. So by right, if he's encroaching on the public pavement, then enforcement officers should be ticketing him. So I'll give that feedback back to them. Yeah, definitely.
Councillor Weston.
Thanks. It's on street trading, so I've got another point probably. So I wasn't clear, so Flagsdale, because I wasn't clear the Middleton Road and St James Square markets would be the fees, because it wasn't sure given how that phrasing in the report. My question on it is, have we got a policy or something that tells us what is a pop-up? Because within the Middleton Road and St James Square are referenced in the free market. Does that mean that no others are, or do they just come?
Not
from
at
you?
all. Yeah, not at all. So that would apply for any pop-up market that takes place in the borough. Haringey is not a market borough in the true sense of the word. We don't have charter market status. So any markets that we want to have operating on a regular basis, we've got to make sure that we're not infringing on anybody else, because all our surrounding boroughs have all got charter markets status. So, you know, we have the temporary markets that take place. And like I said, the only one that's really gone through the process and got planning permission has been the one at Tottenham Green, which is struggling. I'm sure it's struggling, and they're trying to find a new operator for that. But the fees would apply for if, like, Green Lanes wanted to have a one-day market, they would be subject to the same fees as well.
What about car?
Councillor Peacock, if you could come through me. Yeah, it's okay. You may ask now.
Okay. Um,
That's a question, but
yeah, car boot sales, I don't actually cover. The majority of car boots, so anything, like we don't cover it, but anything that's taking place within an enclosed area doesn't fall within our remit, basically. So the one on, if you're thinking on the one on White Hart Lane, that's causing a lot of problems at the moment.
And the one in Tottenham High Road.
And the one in Tottenham High Road at the sports centre, they have got a lot of people that just pitching up on the pavement. So, yeah, I know, I've been in touch with Selco, in fact, this week about the one on White Hart Lane. So there is some enforcement work to be done on those. Yeah,
Councillor Rice?
this is pavement licensing.
yes.
And so how you do not be making a profit when there's an additional income?
There isn't an additional income, councillor.
Why not?
Right, so
You can have the £100 pavement charge for.
right, so previously, under the London Local Authorities Act, anybody wanting to make use of the public highway, they would need to pay their application fee, which was about £130 odd pounds, and then we would measure up and they'd be billed on a monthly basis, £17 per square metre for the space that they're going to use. So Costa Coffee used to pay like £4 or £5 grand a year. Now they get a bigger space as they like for £100 a year.
What's covered any type of street trade, does it?
Not any type of street trading, just for the tables and chairs, payment licenses now. Yeah. So it's in fact left us with a deficit in the budget, a severe deficit in the budget.
But the fees been increased to a level to cover that this.
We can't touch the payment license fee, that's set by the Secretary of State as well.
It's a matter of interest. It's like things up. The Hong Kong Road market, how is that charged?
I don't know, it's a retail units, that's what I'm saying, it's not a market. They are in fact retail units that are hired out, so that, yeah, so commercial rents are paid on those. Yes, it is, but it's
So it's
commercial.
higher from the council. The how does the council not know what income comes?
Oh, I wouldn't know because it's not under my remit. It's property services that deal with that. It's commercial units that are rented out.
Thanks, Councillor Rice. I'm just going to move on to Councillor Ibrahim.
So my first one was, but when you were talking about White Hart Lane, do you mean that the market within, well, the car boot sale, whatever, within Haringey Borough Football Club?
Up to one, yeah.
Yeah, and also, so that's not classed as a market, it's classed as.
It's a car boot.
Car boot sale.
Yeah.
Okay, and the Tottenham Hotspur match day stores selling refreshments, £54.
No. So it depends if they're doing like, I think that £54 is probably for a 6-month application. And they can do that and then they pay a monthly fee thereafter.
And what's the monthly fee?
It's £17, we're going to be £80 something per square metre, depending on the size of the space that they're using. And then they get billed on a monthly basis for that. Yeah.
Any further questions?
Well, they don't think so.
Yes.
Amount of money they made.
Yep, Councillor Weston.
So is the scrap metal at 6.7, it says we wouldn't recommend increasing the fees, but in the table it is increased by.
Oh, yeah, it is increased by 10%. So, yeah.
So
that's fine.
it's just to clarify that
It is increased by
when we
10%.
agree it.
Yeah.
But does that mean we should be amending the report, or it needs to be made clear in the minutes that we are actually going to do that?
It will need to be made clear in the minutes that all fees are going to go up by 10%. Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah,
So why aren't we increasing the fees for the scrap metal? We are.
We are by
Sorry, I missed
10%.
that. Oh, by 10%.
Yeah.
Right,
That's
okay.
that's only.
All fees are getting a general inflationary
Right,
increase.
okay. Because, I mean, I've been surprised at the breakers, scrap metal places there are around, and certainly in Seven Sisters, in the old Seven Sisters, there was 2, which do cause a lot of environmental. I mean, are there, it's perhaps not for this committee, are they monitored? I mean, what kind of?
Right, so the Environment Agency is
Oh,
supposed to be
yeah,
monitoring them.
Yeah,
We have had some issues with the one on Tewkesbury in the past.
yeah, that's the one.
Yeah, so there's been ongoing works there. We don't have a specialist person on the environmental health side
Right,
for that, and I believe they come under the HSC as well.
right, okay.
Sites.
All right, so then, sorry, I misheard. But it's amazing what you do when you want to.
I heard that you were fees up, so you are, okay, that's fine, thank you.
Councillor Weston.
Yeah, this one's just occurred to me. Given that I understand from the report, we can't profit on any of our licenses, like.
On street trading ones, yeah.
So is there any way we would be able to, increase the by rate in it, still not making profit?
Right, so street trading, we would normally increase, so we, last year's fees, we did increase quite a bit. And what's meant to happen is that we're meant to then look at the books and balance out on the books, basically, what it's actually cost us to operate street trading and any, like, you know, money that profits that's made, or if we're in it. And then we're meant to like set the fees either to reduce them accordingly or to increase them accordingly. We've not actually done that this year, so we've only done the 10% inflationary increase. But saying that, we do have, and I know the chair's aware of this, we do have one street trader, in fact, that is quite a lot in deficit, and you know, that would then impact on everybody else that's street trading in the borough, and we'd have to significantly put up the fees. And when we raised the fees last year, that caused quite a bit of a storm for, especially the temporary street traders. It's not even the regular, you know, your traditional traders. It's the temporary ones who always find it, you know, it's cost prohibitive for them.
I was thinking about. So if the only type of fee or license that we can't make is street trade, for everything else, we could charge more if we wanted.
Yes, we
I
could.
guess my point is that the 10% flat rate.
Yeah.
Actually, if we had capacity, we could vary that.
We-
Not tonight, but in the
In
preparation.
the- we certainly could do.
So to
Yeah.
build on the point about scrap metal dealers.
We could certainly
for
look at
example,
increasing, yeah.
That if we know that that's problematic for environmental reasons, you know, we've got commitments as a council to be greener and so on. And this scope for us to make changes perhaps in.
Correct.
Obviously, I'm not going to propose any changes to this sort of on the night off the top of my head, but just out of interest and for clarity, because it strikes me that I can completely see that for some traders, increases are extremely hard to big. But for others, we might want to make political choices. I don't mean party political, I mean as a council,
Yes.
might want to
Yeah.
make political choices that might adjust how we deal with some types of.
Definitely so. And I think we've got to, I think for when I go to do this next year, what I need to bear in mind is that, you know, for instance, for you to look at MSTs, massage and special treatments, you know, if you are somebody who goes to a massage and special treatment premises and it's one that's offering lasers, you know, they are making possibly £2,000 from one client if they're doing a laser treatment on one person, you know, and they're paying what, a £600 fee for the year to us as a council. Yeah, so there is room. You know, there is room for us to be looking at increasing fees. With scrap metal, I don't know if it's I don't think it's the fees. I think it was more the fact that the legislation came in order to get rid of all the people that were operating legally. And we've seen quite a drop off in the number of people that now hold scrap metal licenses in the borough in
I
general.
mean, that was just an example for the sake of argument, given Barbara's previous point, but that's interesting. I wonder, actually, if that might be something we'll consider as a committee in the run up to the. You know, so are there things that we'd like the team to adjust or think about?
Yeah.
You know, should we have some that are increased less? Should we have some that will increase more than the general, you know, to match the council's priority?
Thank you.
With the special treatments, what does that, so you mentioned laser treatment again, and what's our role in that? Is it just an issue? Do we have some kind of system of checking standards, etc.? Because there are often concerns about those types, because obviously they can have, you know, life-changing impacts on people if it's done not in the right way. And we do know that there can be proliferations, and also knowing something about this world, there is like new treatments that are very, very popular amongst young women now. For example, the injections in the lips and all of that stuff, and you can see the impact of some of those kind of more botched treatments. So what's our role in all of that, because it is something of concern?
Okay, so at the moment, things like lasers, yes, we are, as a local authority, we are required to make sure that we're visiting those premises.
Yeah.
Making sure that they are using machines that are accredited to be used, basically,
Yeah.
to do laser treatment. We do have some standard conditions that have
think
been
we
agreed
definitely
by
do.
committee.
Yeah.
They probably do need a revamp, to be honest, and
Yeah.
maybe that's something I'll put on the list for next time round, that we look at the MST conditions and look at what needs to be revised there. The environment health officers are the ones that will go out and do the checks on these establishments. And in terms of injectables, there is new legislation coming.
Okay, good.
And we're hoping that it will be in by the end of this year, in fact. So injectables will be coming to us as a local authority to deal with. We don't know as to yet in what form that's going to be honest. But at the moment, it's a bit of a free for all.
It really is.
You know,
It's quite worrying.
and I'm finding now, because myself, my colleague, we're getting ourselves in hot water because we're giving warnings to people that they shouldn't be doing the injectables out there because they're not qualified doctors or dental practitioners and that sort of thing. And then they come back and challenge and say, well, show me where we can't do it. And then, of course, we've got no leg to stand on.
Yeah.
So, as much as we've tried to give the right messaging out there, unfortunately, it is a free for all. So we are.
And it's deeply worrying actually, because it's like the early days of electrolysis, people would be coming out with burns, but that's like literally injecting chemicals
Yeah.
into people that we just don't know what the long-term impact is.
Yeah. There's all sorts. I mean, every week there seems to be a new therapy that's out there.
Younger and younger
Whether it's
people are doing it, and I'm
blood
like,
from one
how
bit,
do you
putting
read
blood in
it?
somewhere else and all sorts, but yeah, unfortunately.
Very young women doing it, and you think, God, you look so amazing. The beauty of youth is great. You don't need an injection.
Let's go get to our.
Yeah. You know what? I'm 46 and I ain't having nothing done.
Any further questions or comments on this item? No? Okay. Can members indicate approval of the recommendation of this report?
Yeah, agree.
Thank you.
And Chair, just to clarify, that's subject to the update to the
street.
consent for the, for trade.
Thank you. Now on to the 8th item, new items of urgent business. As there are no new items of urgent business, this meeting is now come to an end. Thank you all.
Yeah, so